The sound of an urgent beep broke the quiet hum of the ship's bridge. Commander Elijah Carter looked up from his datapad and turned toward the communication station. Lieutenant Grace Winters was adjusting controls with quick, precise movements of her fingers. "Commander, I'm picking up something unusual," she said, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's faint, but it appears to be a distress signal." Carter rose from his chair and crossed the bridge of the Earth Diplomatic Corps ship Resolute. The routine patrol near the outer colonies had been uneventful until now. He leaned over Winters' shoulder to look at her screen. "Can you clean it up?" he asked. "Working on it, sir." Her fingers danced across the console. "It's coming from the Arcturus system. That's Lyrian space." Carter frowned. The Lyrians were a peaceful race that had only established diplomatic relations with Earth 2 years ago. They were known for their advanced medicine and art, not for trouble. "Put it through the speakers," he ordered. Static filled the bridge, followed by broken words in the musical language of the Lyrians. Between bursts of interference, Carter could make out panic in the voice. "Run it through the translator," he said. Moments later, the ship's AI converted the message. "Under attack. Unknown forces. Weapons we cannot. Help us. Earth Alliance." "Lieutenant Ryan," Carter called to his science officer. "Get me scans of the Arcturus system." The young officer worked quickly. "Sir, long-range scans show unusual energy readings, consistent with weapons fire. Massive weapons fire." Carter straightened up. "Try to contact Earth Command. We need to report this." Lieutenant Winters tried multiple channels but shook her head. "No response, sir. Communications appear to be jammed across multiple sectors." Carter paced the bridge, weighing his options. The Resolute was not a warship. It carried minimal weapons for self-defense. Earth's policy on developing conflicts was clear: non-intervention until authorized by command. "Sir, what are your orders?" asked First Officer Paul Bennett. Carter stopped pacing. "Call the senior staff to the conference room. We need to discuss this." 10 minutes later, Carter sat at the head of the conference table surrounded by his top officers. "The Lyrians are asking for our help," he said. "But without contact with Earth Command, we're operating blind." "Regulations are clear," said Security Chief Allison Miller. "We observe only until we receive orders from command." Bennett nodded in agreement. "The Resolute isn't equipped for combat. If there's a serious conflict happening, we could be destroyed before we even understand what's going on." "But the Lyrians are our allies," argued Lieutenant Winters. "We promised them protection when they signed the treaty." Carter listened to all perspectives before speaking. "I understand the regulations, but I also understand our promises." He stood up. "We're going to investigate, not engage, just observe and gather intelligence. If the Lyrians are truly under attack, Earth will want to know exactly what we're dealing with." Some officers looked relieved, others concerned, but all nodded in acceptance of their commander's decision. "Set course for the edge of the Arcturus system," Carter ordered. "Maximum speed, but keep us just outside sensor range of any potential hostiles." The Resolute jumped to high speed, its engines humming with power. Carter returned to the bridge and watched the stars streak by on the main view screen. He had a bad feeling about what they might find. Hours later, the Resolute dropped out of high speed at the outer edge of the Arcturus system. What they saw made everyone on the bridge fall silent. The Lyrian homeworld was surrounded by massive ships unlike any Carter had seen before. Beams of energy sliced through space, cutting down the few Lyrian vessels that tried to fight back. The planet's cities were visible as burning spots on the night side of the world. "Those ships don't match any known design in our database," reported Ryan. "They're using technology far beyond what we've encountered before." "Sir," called Winters, "I'm picking up a small ship approaching our position. It's Lyrian, but badly damaged." "Defensive shields up, but hold fire," Carter ordered. "Open a channel." The view screen flickered to show a Lyrian female with silver skin and large, distressed eyes. Carter recognized her from diplomatic meetings. "Ambassador Naira," he said. "What's happening here?" "Commander Carter," she replied, her voice shaking. "Thank the stars it's you. We are being destroyed by the Draxus Imperium. They came without warning 3 days ago." "The Draxus? I've never heard of them." They are conquerors from beyond the known systems. They target peaceful worlds, especially those with valuable resources or strategic positions. Naira's image flickered as her ship took another hit. But they specifically mentioned our alliance with humans as a reason for targeting us. Carter's blood ran cold. You're saying we're partly responsible for this attack? No, Commander. I'm saying they fear humans, though they would never admit it. They've heard stories. Her transmission broke up momentarily. Commander, I need to dock with your ship immediately. I carry something of vital importance. Carter gave the order, and within minutes the small Lyrian shuttle limped into the Resolute's docking bay. Ambassador Naira was escorted to the bridge, her silver skin pale and marked with injuries. Ambassador, we need to get you medical attention, Carter said. There is no time, she replied, pulling a small device from her robes. It was about the size of a human hand, made of an unknown metal that seemed to shift colors as it caught the light. This is an ancient communication device, one of our most sacred treasures. It was given to my ancestors with the promise that it would call for help in our darkest hour. She pressed the device into Carter's hands. You must take this to Earth. Use it to call for your fleet. Carter looked confused. Ambassador, I don't understand. Earth's fleet isn't particularly large or advanced. We maintain a defensive force, but nothing that could challenge what I just saw attacking your world. For the first time, a small smile crossed Naira's face. Is that what you believe, Commander? There are stories throughout the galaxy about human warriors. Tales of your kind's ferocity in battle. Your cleverness. Your unwillingness to surrender, even in the face of certain defeat. Those are just stories, Carter protested. Perhaps, Naira said, but the Draxus believe them enough to fear human expansion, and I believe them enough to trust you with our last hope. Her eyes became more urgent. Every moment we delay, more of my people die. Please, Commander, take this to Earth. Show them what is happening. Ask them to help us. Carter looked down at the strange device in his hands, then back to the view screen showing the devastation of the Lyrian homeworld. He made his decision. First Officer Bennett, set course for Earth, maximum speed. Lieutenant Winters, prepare all our sensor data and Ambassador Naira's testimony for immediate transmission the moment we clear the jamming field. He turned to the ambassador. We'll do everything we can, I promise. As the Resolute turned away from the burning world and accelerated to high speed, Carter couldn't help but wonder what Earth's response would be. Their small fleet of diplomatic and defense vessels would be no match for the Draxus ships. But something in Ambassador Naira's eyes made him wonder if perhaps there was more to Earth's capabilities than even he knew. The device in his hands felt oddly warm, as if responding to his thoughts. Whatever it was, he hoped it would be enough to save the Lyrians. And perhaps Earth as well. The Resolute arrived in Earth space 3 days later. Commander Carter had spent most of that time with Ambassador Naira, learning everything he could about the Draxus Imperium. The more he learned, the more worried he became. Commander, we're being hailed by Earth Defense Command, Lieutenant Winters said as they approached Earth orbit. They're ordering us to dock at the Geneva space station instead of our usual berth. Carter raised an eyebrow. Geneva Station was where the highest levels of Earth government met. Something about their urgent message had clearly caught someone's attention. Acknowledged. Take us in, Lieutenant. As they docked, Carter was surprised to see a full honor guard waiting for them. Even more surprising was the tall, stern-faced woman in an admiral's uniform. Admiral Catherine Boyd was head of Earth Fleet Command, and she rarely left her office for anything less than a global emergency. Commander Carter, she said, her voice crisp and formal. You and your Lyrian guest are to come with me immediately. The rest of your crew will remain aboard until debriefed. Carter and Ambassador Naira followed Admiral Boyd through a series of security checkpoints, each more strict than the last. Finally, they entered a large, circular room deep within the station. Around a massive table sat 12 people, each wearing the insignia of Earth's highest military and political offices. Sit, Admiral Boyd said, pointing to 2 empty chairs. A gray-haired man at the head of the table spoke first. I am President Frank Harmon. Commander Carter, your report and sensor data have caused quite a stir. Ambassador Naira, let me first say how deeply sorry we are for what is happening to your people. Naira bowed her head slightly. Thank you, Mr. President. But what my people need now is not sorrow but action. Indeed, the President said. He looked at Carter. Commander, what you're about to learn is classified at the highest level. For 400 years since humanity's first contact with alien life, we have maintained a public face and a private reality. Admiral Boyd tapped a control on the table, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed Earth's known fleet, a few hundred ships mostly designed for research, diplomacy, and light defense. This is what the galaxy knows about Earth's military capabilities, Boyd said. Then she tapped another control, and the display changed dramatically. Thousands of ships appeared, ranging from small, nimble fighters to massive dreadnoughts, the size of small cities. Carter leaned forward in shock. What is this? This, said Admiral Boyd, is the true Earth Defense Fleet, hidden in bases on Mars, beneath the surface of Europa, and inside the rings of Saturn, built in absolute secrecy and maintained that way for centuries. But why? Carter asked, struggling to understand. Why hide our true strength? President Harmon answered. After our first contacts, Earth's leaders realized something important. Species that revealed their full military strength either became targets for those who feared them or were drawn into conflicts they didn't want. We chose a third path, to appear just strong enough to defend ourselves but not threatening enough to become a target or a major player in galactic politics. Carter looked at the holographic fleet again. Some of the designs were completely unfamiliar, to him, suggesting technology far beyond what he knew Earth possessed. Ambassador Nero was staring at the display with wide eyes. Then the stories were true, she whispered. Boyd turned to her. What stories? Throughout the galaxy, there are old tales of human warriors. Stories say that when pushed to protect what they love, humans fight with unexpected strength and cleverness. Some believed these were just myths. Others, like the Draxus, took them seriously enough to target Earth's allies first, before confronting humanity directly. President Harmon nodded slowly. And now they've attacked your world because of your connection to us. Yes, Naira said. She pulled out the strange device she had given to Carter. This is why I brought this to you. It is called the Beacon of Need. It was given to my ancestors by a race even older than yours, with instructions to use it only in our most desperate hour. She placed the device on the table. They said it would call those who could help us. I believe they meant you even then. Admiral Boyd looked skeptical. A mystical calling device we don't need. Naira interrupted. Please try it, in the presence of those with the authority to act. President Harmon nodded. Go ahead, Ambassador. Naira placed her hand on the device and spoke words in her musical language. The device began to glow with a soft blue light. Then she removed her hand and looked at President Harmon. Now you must touch it and speak your intention. The president hesitated, only briefly before placing his hand on the device. If Earth can help the Lyrian people in their time of need, let it be known. The device suddenly shone with brilliant light, then projected a series of complex symbols into the air above the table. The symbols rotated slowly, glowing with the same blue light. Admiral Boyd jumped to her feet. Those are the activation codes for Protocol Safeguard. How is this possible? One of the other officials, a general with numerous medals, looked equally shocked. Those codes are known only to the highest levels of Earth Command. They've never been shared with any alien species. Naira looked just as surprised. I don't understand. The beacon simply reveals the path to aid. Admiral Boyd was already moving, typing the codes into her command pad. Protocol Safeguard is our emergency mobilization plan, the revelation and deployment of Earth's true military capabilities. It was created as a last resort if Earth itself was threatened. She looked up at the president. Sir, the device somehow accessed our most secure protocols. I don't know how, but it's authenticated. President Harmon stood up. Then perhaps this is exactly what it was meant to do. He turned to the others at the table. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems the time for hiding is over. I am authorizing Protocol Safeguard effective immediately. The room erupted in activity as officials began issuing orders through secure channels. Admiral Boyd turned to Carter. Commander Carter, in recognition of your actions in bringing this situation to our attention, you are hereby promoted to captain. Report to Mars Base Alpha within 6 hours. You'll be given command of the battlecruiser Dauntless. Carter was stunned. The Dauntless? I've never even heard of it. Boyd almost smiled. No one outside this room has. It's one of our newest ships with technology decades ahead of what you're familiar with. She turned to include Naira in the conversation. Ambassador, I assure you that Earth takes its alliances seriously. The Draxus Imperium is about to learn that they've made a terrible mistake. Carter and Naira watched through the windows of the Geneva station as lights began to appear around Earth, ships emerging from hidden docks and powering up weapon systems that had never been used outside of secret training exercises. Will it be enough? Naira asked quietly. Carter watched as more and more ships appeared, forming into battle groups. I think, Ambassador, that the galaxy is about to discover just how seriously humanity takes a call for help. Captain Elijah Carter stood on the bridge of the Dauntless and tried not to look too impressed. The ship was unlike anything he had ever commanded. The bridge was 3 times larger than the Resolutes, with workstations for at least 30 crew members. Every surface gleamed with new technology. Captain on deck, called Lieutenant Winters as Carter entered. He had requested her transfer to serve as his executive officer, and Admiral Boyd had approved immediately. At ease, Carter said. Status report? All systems ready, sir. The crew is at full complement and the fleet is assembling in Mars orbit, as ordered. Carter walked to the main viewport and looked out at the gathering armada. Ships of all sizes moved into formation, sleek destroyers, heavy cruisers, and massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed even the Dauntless. Each ship bristled with weapons that had been developed in secret over decades. It's hard to believe all this was hidden from us, Carter said quietly. From everyone, sir, Winters replied. Most of the crew is just as surprised as we are. They were part of the public fleet and only learned about this secret force when they received emergency transfer orders yesterday. A voice came over the ship's communication system. Captain Carter, please report to Conference Room 1. Captain Olivia Martinez has arrived for the tactical briefing. Carter had heard of Captain Martinez. She was a legend in the fleet, a brilliant tactician who had supposedly retired 5 years ago. Now he understood that her retirement had likely been a cover, so she could work with the secret fleet. In the conference room, Captain Martinez was studying a holographic display of the Arcturus system. She was a small woman with short gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. Captain Carter, she said without looking up. I've reviewed your sensor data from the Lyrian homeworld. The Draxus ships are impressive, but they have weaknesses we can exploit. Carter joined her at the display. Such as? Their ships sacrifice maneuverability for firepower, and their formation suggests they're not used to fighting coordinated opponents. She pointed to several key positions. We'll need to split their fleet, isolate their command ships, and disrupt their communications. The door opened, and Ambassador Nira entered with a young man in an intelligence officer's uniform. Captain Carter, Captain Martinez, the man said. I'm Lieutenant Daniel Wright, Earth Intelligence. I've been monitoring the Draxus for 3 years through our stealth probe network. Carter blinked in surprise. We have stealth probes in Draxus space? Wright nodded. Earth has been quietly observing dozens of potentially hostile species for decades. The Draxus emerged as a concern when they conquered the Vex system 2 years ago. He inserted a data chip into the table's console, and the holographic display changed to show detailed schematics of Draxus ships. Their technology is advanced, but not as advanced as they want everyone to believe. Their main weapons draw enormous power, which leaves them vulnerable for 12 seconds after each major firing sequence. That's our window to strike. Ambassador. Naira stared at the display in shock. You know so much about them. Why didn't Earth warn other worlds? Captain Martinez answered. Because revealing what we knew would expose our intelligence capabilities. Earth's strategy has always been to appear less informed and less powerful than we actually are. Wright continued his briefing, pointing out Draxus communication systems and shield generators. As he spoke, Carter noticed that Ambassador Naira was growing increasingly pale. "Ambassador, are you all right?" he asked. I'm trying to understand," she said. "Your people presented themselves to the galaxy as newcomers with limited military technology. You told us you had a few hundred defensive ships, basic weapons." She gestured at the display. "But all this time you had thousands of ships hidden away? Advanced technology? Spy networks watching other species?" Carter understood her confusion. "It wasn't meant to deceive allies like your people. It was about protecting Earth until we understood the galaxy better." Admiral Boyd entered the room before Naira could respond. "The full fleet is assembled and ready. All commanding officers report to your ships. We jump to the Arcturus system in 1 hour." As the others filed out, Boyd held Carter back. "Captain, there's something you should know before we deploy." "What is it, Admiral?" Boyd's normally stern face showed a hint of concern. "This fleet, impressive as it is, has never been tested in actual combat. We've run thousands of simulations, but simulations are not the same as facing a real enemy. You're saying we don't know if our secret weapons will actually work?" "They'll work," Boyd said firmly. "But will they work well enough? The Draxus have been fighting real wars for decades. Our strategy has always been to build a force so overwhelming that no one would challenge us if they knew about it. Now we'll find out if that strategy was wise." Carter thought about this. "So our first real test is against an enemy already in the middle of conquering another world." "Exactly." Boyd handed him a small device similar to the one Ambassador Naira had brought to Earth. "This is a quantum communicator. It will allow you to contact me directly, regardless of distance or interference. Use it if something goes very wrong." "And what should I do if something goes very wrong?" Boyd's expression was grim. "Save as many of your people as you can, and come home. Earth has defenses beyond even this fleet if we need them." She straightened up. "But it won't come to that. You're a good officer, Carter. That's why I gave you the Dauntless." After the Admiral left, Carter returned to his ship. The crew was busy with final preparations. Weapons officers checked their systems, engineers monitored power levels, and medical teams prepared for casualties. Lieutenant Winters approached with a datapad. "Final crew manifest, sir. We have 486 souls on board." Carter looked around at his crew, men and women who, like him, had only just learned of Earth's true military power. They were professionals, but he could see the uncertainty in their eyes. They needed confidence from their captain. "Lieutenant, open a shipwide channel." "Channel open, sir." Carter took a deep breath. "This is Captain Carter. In 1 hour, we will jump to the Arcturus system as part of the largest combat fleet ever assembled by Earth. Many of you, like me, only learned yesterday about the existence of this fleet and these ships. We are all adjusting to new technology, new weapons, and a new understanding of Earth's place in the galaxy." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "But what hasn't changed is our duty. The Lyrians are our allies, and they've asked for our help. Whatever doubts you may have about these secret ships or hidden weapons, remember that we're fighting for people who cannot fight for themselves. That's what Earth has always stood for, whether anyone knew about our true strength or not." He saw heads nodding across the bridge. "Prepare for jump, and know that whatever we face it together." As the Dauntless moved into formation with the rest of the fleet, Carter couldn't help but wonder what would happen when the galaxy finally saw Earth's true power unleashed. The jump to the Arcturus system was faster than Captain Carter had expected. The Dauntless had technology that could bend space in ways the public fleet's ships could not. One moment they were near Mars, and the next, they were at the edge of the Lyrian home system. "Jump complete, sir," reported Lieutenant Winters. "All ships present and accounted for." Carter looked at the tactical display. Earth's fleet had arrived exactly as planned, forming a massive three-dimensional grid that stretched across thousands of kilometers of space. More than 2,000 ships, from small fast attack vessels to enormous dreadnoughts. "Status of the Draxus fleet?" Carter asked. Sensors show 147 Draxus ships in orbit around the Lyrian homeworld, replied the tactical officer. They appear to be, sir. They're showing signs of surprise. Their ships are breaking formation and moving to defensive positions. Carter allowed himself a small smile. The Draxus had expected to have weeks before any possible Earth response. No one outside Earth knew about their advanced jump technology. All ships maintain position, he ordered. Let's let them see exactly what they're facing. On the main screen, Carter could see the Lyrian homeworld. Large portions of its surface were burning. Draxus ships surrounded it like hungry wolves around wounded prey. Then he saw the Draxus ships begin to form up into battle groups. They're recovering from their surprise quickly, Captain Martinez noted from her position at the tactical station. She had joined Carter's ship for the initial phase of the battle before she would transfer to her own command. They're good. I'll give them that. Sir, we're being hailed, Winters reported. It's coming from what appears to be the Draxus command ship. On screen, Carter ordered. The image of a Draxus commander appeared. He had gray, leathery skin and eyes with vertical pupils like a snake's. He wore an elaborate uniform covered in what looked like military decorations. This is Supreme Commander Vexcar of the Draxus Imperium, the alien said. Your presence here is a violation of Draxus-controlled space. The world below is now under our protection. Leave immediately or be destroyed. Carter stood up straight. This is Captain Elijah Carter of the Earth Fleet. The Lyrian homeworld is a sovereign planet and an ally of Earth. Your unprovoked attack is an act of war against both the Lyrians and Earth. It is you who will withdraw immediately. The Draxus commander's face showed no emotion, but his voice carried a hint of mockery. Earth Fleet, we know all about your pitiful ships, human. You have no chance against our forces. But I am feeling generous today. Leave now, and we will not pursue and destroy you. Carter looked at Martinez, who nodded slightly. This was going exactly as intelligence had predicted. The Draxus believed they were facing a small, inferior force. Perhaps you should take another look at your sensor readings, Commander Vexcar, Carter said calmly. The Draxus commander looked away briefly, presumably at his own tactical displays. When his eyes returned to the screen, they had widened slightly. This is some kind of trick, he said, but uncertainty had crept into his voice. No trick, Carter replied. This is the Earth Fleet. You have 1 hour to withdraw from Lyrian space. After that, we will remove you by force. The Draxus commander cut the communication without responding. He's going to attack, Martinez said. Immediately. Their culture forbids retreating once they've claimed a world. They'll call for reinforcements and try to hold out until they arrive. Then we don't give them the chance. Carter turned to his communications officer. Signal all ships. Begin Operation Safeguard. Throughout the Earth Fleet, ships began to move. They formed into 3 massive attack groups, each targeting a different section of the Draxus fleet. The Dauntless led the central group, heading straight for the Draxus command ships. Weapon status? Carter asked. All weapons charged and ready, sir. Shields at maximum. The bridge was silent as the distance between the fleets closed. Carter could feel the tension in the air. For many, this would be their first real combat experience. Draxus ships powering weapons, the tactical officer reported. They're firing. Bright beams of energy shot from the Draxus ships toward the Earth Fleet. They struck the lead Earth ships, including the Dauntless. Shields holding at 95%, reported the shield officer. Their weapons are powerful but not as strong as our simulations suggested. Return fire, Carter ordered. Target their lead ships, standard weapons only for now. The Dauntless fired its main weapons. Beams of intense energy sliced through space and struck the nearest Draxus cruiser. Its shields flared brightly, then collapsed. A second shot tore through its hull and the ship exploded in a brilliant flash. Throughout the fleet, Earth ships engaged the Draxus forces. The battle quickly grew chaotic as hundreds of ships maneuvered and fired. Sir, the Draxus are adjusting their tactics, Martinez reported. They're concentrating fire on our smaller vessels. Carter watched as a group of Draxus ships surrounded an Earth destroyer. The smaller ship fought bravely, but its shields were failing under the combined assault. Send Group 7 to assist, Carter ordered. Captain, I'm detecting something odd, Lieutenant Winters said suddenly. The Drax's ship seemed to be responding to threats faster than should be possible. It's like they know what we're going to do before we do it. Carter moved to her station and studied her readings. Some kind of advanced communication system? Yes, sir. I think they're using quantum entanglement to coordinate their attacks with no delay. Carter thought quickly. This wasn't in the intelligence briefings. Can we disrupt it? Maybe. Winters worked her console rapidly. If we can identify the frequency pattern, we might be able to inject false signals. Do it, Carter said. And contact Lieutenant Wright in the intelligence section. He might have additional insights. As Winters worked, the battle continued to rage. Earthships were holding their own, but the Drax's coordination was making them more effective than expected. Several Earth vessels had already been severely damaged. Sir, the tactical officer called out, the Drax's command ship is breaking away from the main battle. It's heading toward the Lyrian homeworld at high speed. Carter watched the tactical display with growing concern. What are they doing? The answer came a moment later as sensors detected a massive energy buildup on the Drax's command ship. Captain, Martinez said, her voice tense. They're powering up some kind of superweapon. Energy readings suggest it could devastate the planet's surface. Carter faced a terrible choice. Continue the battle plan and possibly win the overall fight, or break formation to stop the command ship and potentially save billions of Lyrian lives. He made his decision instantly. Helm, intercept course with the Drax's command ship. Maximum speed. All weapons, prepare to fire on my command. As the Dauntless broke from the main fleet and raced toward the Drax's command ship, Carter knew he might be sacrificing their carefully planned strategy, but he couldn't let an entire world die while he watched. Weapons locked on target, the tactical officer reported. Fire everything we've got, Carter ordered. The Dauntless unleashed its full arsenal at the Drax's command ship, hoping to stop whatever horror it was about to unleash. The Dauntless shook as all its weapons fired at once. Beams of energy and guided projectiles streaked toward the Drax's command ship. The enemy vessel's shields glowed brightly as they absorbed the attack, but they held. Direct hit, but minimal. Damage? Reported the tactical officer. Their shields are stronger than we expected. Carter watched as the Drax's command ship continued its approach to the Lyrian homeworld. The energy readings from its main weapon were still climbing. Fire again, Carter ordered. Concentrate all power on their weapons array. The Dauntless fired a second volley, joined by several smaller Earthships that had broken from their formations to follow Carter's lead. The combined firepower finally broke through the Drax's shields in one section, causing damage to the hull beneath. Sir, they're still charging their weapon, Lieutenant Winters said. Estimated firing time in 45 seconds. Carter made a quick calculation. They couldn't stop the Drax's ship in time. There was only one option left. Helm, set course to position us between the Drax's command ship and the planet, he ordered. Maximum shields to forward section. The bridge crew exchanged worried glances. They all understood what the captain was planning. The Dauntless would try to absorb the weapons blast to save the planet. Sir, Winters said quietly, our shields won't hold against that kind of energy. We'll be destroyed. I know, Carter replied. But we'll save billions of lives. Send the evacuation order. All non-essential personnel to escape pods. You have 30 seconds. I'm staying with the ship, sir, Winters said firmly. Several other bridge officers nodded in agreement. As you wish, Carter said, feeling a surge of pride in his crew. He opened a ship-wide channel. All hands, this is the captain. In 30 seconds, we will intercept a weapon aimed at the Lyrian homeworld. We may not survive the impact. It has been my greatest honor to serve with you all, Carter out. The Dauntless moved into position, its shields facing the Drax's command ship. Carter watched the countdown timer tick down on the main screen. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3. Sir, Winters shouted. New contact arriving. A massive ship, larger than anything Carter had ever seen, suddenly appeared between the Dauntless and the Drax's command ship. It was at least 3 times the size of Earth's largest dreadnought, with a design unlike anything in Earth's fleet. "What in the world is that?" Carter asked, staring at the enormous vessel. His question was answered a moment later when Admiral Boyd's voice came through on the quantum communicator. "Captain Carter, stand down. The Excalibur will handle this." The new ship, the Excalibur, spread what looked like giant metallic wings, creating a vast shield between the Draxus weapon and the planet. Just as the Draxus fired their superweapon, the Excalibur's wings began to glow with a strange blue energy. The Draxus weapon released a beam of blinding white light that struck the center of the Excalibur's wings. Instead of destroying the Earth ship, however, the energy seemed to flow across the wings, being absorbed and channeled through the vessel. "My God," whispered Carter as he watched the incredible sight. For a full 10 seconds, the Draxus weapon poured energy into the Excalibur. Then, just as the Draxus beam began to fade, the Earth ship's wings changed from blue to fierce red. With a blast that lit up the entire system, the Excalibur redirected the absorbed energy back at the Draxus fleet. The redirected beam swept across the Draxus ships, cutting through shields and hulls as if they were paper. In moments, half the remaining Draxus fleet was destroyed or crippled. "All ships, press the attack," Admiral Boyd's voice ordered over the fleet channel. "Don't let any of them escape." The Earth fleet surged forward, engaging the remaining Draxus vessels. The battle was fierce but brief. Without their command ship, the Draxus coordination fell apart. Within an hour, the remaining Draxus ships were either destroyed or fleeing through jump points. The Dauntless received orders to dock with the Excalibur. As Carter and his officers walked through the massive ship's corridors, they were greeted with respectful nods from its crew. Admiral Boyd met them in a large conference room. "Captain Carter, your willingness to sacrifice your ship and crew to save the Lyrians speaks well of you. Earth needs officers with both courage and compassion." "Thank you, Admiral," Carter replied. "But I think we all want to know, what exactly is the Excalibur? It's not like any ship I've ever seen." "Because it's not just an Earth design," came a voice from behind them. Ambassador Naira entered the room, accompanied by several alien beings of various species Carter didn't recognize. "The Excalibur is the product of a secret alliance," Boyd explained. "For over a century, Earth has been quietly working with representatives from a dozen peaceful civilizations. The Excalibur combines technologies from all our worlds." "I don't understand," Carter said. "If we had allies, why keep the entire fleet secret?" One of the unknown aliens, a tall being with iridescent skin, stepped forward. "Because of the Galactic prophecy. I am Advisor John of the Elder Council. Long ago, our seers predicted that a young species would arise, one with both the will to fight and the heart to protect. They would remain hidden until called upon in a time of great need. When you rescued Ambassador Nira and responded to the beacon of need," Boyd added, "you fulfilled the first part of that prophecy. Now the second part begins." "What's the second part?" Carter asked. "The revelation of the Guardians, Advisor," Chan said. "Already word of this battle spreads across the galaxy. Ships from 20 different worlds are on their way here to witness what has happened. The Draxus Imperium has been sending distress calls to all their outposts, warning of Earth's power." Carter looked out the viewport at the Lyrian homeworld. Already relief ships were descending to the surface, bringing aid to the damaged cities. "So what happens now?" he asked. Admiral Boyd smiled. "Now, Captain, you get a new mission. The Draxus will regroup and attack again. They can't afford to let news of their defeat spread. You'll lead a task force to their home systems and make sure they never threaten another peaceful world." Carter nodded, but he still had questions. "And the secrecy? Is that over now?" "Yes," Boyd said. "Earth can no longer hide its strength, but perhaps we no longer need to. The galaxy now knows what happens when someone threatens our allies." As Carter prepared to return to the Dauntless, Ambassador Naira approached him. "My people will never forget what Earth did for us today," she said. "One call for help and you brought a war fleet that saved an entire world." Carter smiled. "That's what allies do, Ambassador. And now the whole galaxy knows it." As the Earth fleet regrouped and prepared for what would come next, news of the battle spread faster than light across the stars. The story grew with each telling. how a single distress call had unleashed humanity's hidden might, how Earth had revealed itself as the prophesied protector of peaceful worlds, and how the galaxy's greatest war fleet had emerged from secrecy to challenge those who would conquer and destroy. Throughout the galaxy, worlds that had lived in fear of the Draxus looked to Earth with new hope, and those who had conquest in their hearts looked at the same reports with new fear. Either way, the galaxy would never be the same. The Guardians had finally revealed themselves and a new era had begun.